Good afternoon, welcome everybody, good morning, good evening. Thanks very much for joining us today. Looking at the registrants for the list from today, we're delivering to many parts of the world, to some new areas. So welcome to the November session of the Mobile IT Community of Interest. I'm Stuart Young, and once again I'm introducing our monthly community. This delivery is entitled Multi-Purpose Apps and Hardware Solutions, and this will be delivered by Fusion. Before we get started, let me briefly explain how to interact during the community meetings. The GoToWebinar system is currently set on default mute settings. There are lots of participants on the call. You can get audio over your telephone or your speakers to improve sound quality if that's a problem to you. The right hand panel is set to hide automatically. Please use the orange arrow to bring it out or place it in the hide position. You're encouraged to please forward any questions that come up during the session using the questions tab, and the questions will be read out at the end. There are questions set up in a poll system with multi-choice answers, and we'll get to that towards the end as well. At the end of the meeting we'll have a follow-up survey. Please respond if you can. We'd love to get your feedback incorporated into the work of the community. So we'll move into the community session. So about the community of interest, the objective of our community of interest is to showcase the mobility solutions that have or will be adopted in the capital projects industry. We strive to achieve this goal by presenting the very latest business cases for mobile IT adoption, and also by allowing the breadth of community participants to expose their perspective on the technology applications currently in use. We've been delivering use cases and industry perspectives through various channels, including this monthly meeting. We've had some virtual and live discussions, we've got some documentation reports, and we also facilitate the creation of research and development projects within the organisations involved. This community of interest is a partnership venture between both Fiatech and Commit. Fiatech, as many of you will know, is a member-based organisation with the objective of improving the productivity of capital projects through the deployment of technology. Fiatech's goal is to improve productivity in the capital project sector through adequate leadership and global development of adoption of innovative practice. Commit is also a member-based organisation from the UK. Its principal aim is to learn from experience and deliver measurable business benefits in terms of adoption of mobile technologies. So therefore, this partnership supports the work and objectives of the community. Who's in the community, I hear you ask? The community is nearly 3 years old. Since we started the community, we've had up to 1,550 participants take part from over 460 organisations in 43 countries. Participants are located in North America and Europe. As we expand through the Middle and Far East, we're beginning to attract participation from South America and some other remote locations. We are very pleased with the industry's response so far, and we are continuously working to meet the needs of our members and participants. I want to tell you a little bit now about an initiative that's in Fiatech at the moment. It's attracted a lot of attention in the capital project sector. These are the productivity advancement targets. They represent a unique and holistic way to drive sustainable productivity, which is propelled by economic value and direct leadership from the owner-operators and EPCs. Organisations are constantly struggling to establish systems thinking approaches to how work is defined and performed in hopes of becoming more effective and more efficient. The massive scale, complexity and short life cycle of interdependencies has made sustainable solution finding a major barrier. With that in mind, the Fiatech members are rethinking why compelling improvements with the potential of significant industry benefits emerge with enthusiastic interest only to rapidly fade away. Fiatech members believe that productivity advancement targets, if fully delivered, could save the industry over 25% of every dollar investment plus 10% of the project cycle time. So, productivity advancement targets. This particular session today supports mobile information technology, and that the title of that is Automated Field Data Collection and Control. We want to enable a 40% improvement in efficiency of field data collection within the industry. The challenge, as I say, is to enable a 40% improvement and the cycle time of field data collection or information access. The advancement of this technology has created powerful tools for producing designs in integrated 3D models, scheduling capabilities and other advanced features. Additionally, construction field sites are adding technology capabilities with field computers, mobile kiosks, mobile IT applications, field tablets and other technology advancements that provide opportunity to leverage design deliverables. So this particular Pat 9, as you can see on the bottom of the screen there, it links very nicely into today's session. And as we say at Fiatech, there is a Pat for that. Visibility in the industry is gathering apace. There's two articles here which I urge you to have a look at. They're very descriptive and go into reasonable detail about what the PATs can actually do for organisations. Yeah, have a look at that article. There are 10 further PATs that may suit other aspects of the capital projects world, with everything from automated design through integrated materials management to interoperability and beyond. If you're looking to help radically transform your organisation, then get a closer look at the PATs and see why so many others are excited about this opportunity. Okay, the main presentation today, I'll introduce our two presenters. As I mentioned at the beginning, this session is the multi-purpose apps and hardware solutions delivered by Fusion. Two people from Fusion today is Steve Pearson and Maria Waters. Steve, I'll introduce first, is a chartered engineer with a practical engineering knowledge of all phases of major projects. Prior to forming Pearson Harper in 1992, currently known as Fusion IM Limited, Steve worked for BP as a senior engineer, specialising in instrumentation and control and IT issues. He is widely recognised as an authority in the field of engineering content management and is regularly asked to speak at conferences and seminars. Steve has helped many blue chip operators define their engineering information needs, and his practical and pragmatic approach to handling engineering content has enabled clients to save millions of pounds. On to Maria. Maria has an honours degree in engineering geology and has a talent for processing, analysing and interpreting vast amounts of data. Over the years, she's worked for a number of blue chip companies handling a wide range of electronic and hard copy data, including collecting and interpreting live well data on offshore drilling rigs. In the early stages of her career, she worked as a data processor, but rapidly became involved in programming and system analysis. Maria also has experience in the manufacturing industry and has worked in detail in the area of material requirement planning and stock systems. So, Steve, I'll hand over to you first. Thank you very much for your involvement today. Steve, it's all yours.
Okay, so I can advance to the first slide.
Yep.
Is it coming up? Have you got it, Stuart, yeah?
No, it's all yours.
Okay, so we'll just try to advance the slide here.
Okay, do you want me to? Maybe I should do it.
There we go. I'm moving my mouse around here.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. Thank you very much. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Perth, where this evening it's 11 o'clock. And the temperatures are balmy 17 degrees, and I'm sure Maria's going to fill us in when we get to what the conditions are like in. Go through a few slides first just to set the scene. I'm just going to go through 5 themes that we've experienced in the world we work in, with regard to the use of mobile technology for a range of different purposes. Then I'll just round some of the benefits are to everybody in the industry, and then I'll hand over to Maria, who's going to take you through some what some of the technology looks like, those that have not seen it before. So the first thing I'd like to start with is around collaboration. So this is like using information from major in the mobile world to see how we can all collaborate with each other. Just press the key, see what happens.
I'd like
trying again.
Shall I advance the slides for you, Steve, if it's not going to work?
If you don't mind, yeah, to seem to. So I'm on 11 at the moment this end. If you want to go to 12, sure, I'll just you can be my prompt if you wish.
Yeah.
You want the next one?
There you go. Okay, we're on 12.
Okay, yeah, I've got that now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. So yeah, basically, I wanted to just touch on there's two projects out here. We're on 12. Thank you. Yeah. So there's two world-class projects out here in Australia, where obviously these are mega projects. The number of assets on these facilities is up in the $750,000 range, and the value of the projects is about $100 billion. So what I was going to do is just share with you some of how the information is split down on these projects, and then how mobile technology can support projects of this nature, but obviously support projects of any size. So we can have the next slide, please, Stuart.
You see that? Yep.
There we go. So what? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So basically, what we found, again, sharing experiences on these major projects, there's lots of parties, lots of players. So the EPCs obviously have a lot of information. They use excellent tools from the likes of Intergraph, Aviva, and Bentley to knock out the 3D design. They use smart plant instrumentation, smart plant P&ID solutions. They're knocking out spreadsheets and data sheets. And we've found that that's obviously excellent design information, but that represents like 27% of the information. If you can give me a next advance, Stuart. I don't know why mine isn't working. But we also find, obviously, on these major projects, there's all the package vendors, people like Solar Turbines, GE, Atlas Copco, and they obviously have their own design tools, they have different 3D solutions. They're knocking out P&ID sometimes on AutoCAD, so less advanced than the EPCs, and they're also providing data sheets and the like on spreadsheets. So there's a different standard of information, but that represents a significant number. And on some of these projects we're working on, that's about 40% of the information. And if we can click the next one, Stuart, please. We've got the original equipment manufacturers who are providing the valves and the motors and the pumps, and they're providing less sophisticated information and PDFs and spreadsheets. So for the clients, obviously, of these major capital projects, they actually want to know everything about the facility from all these different parties. So we can click again, please, Stuart. So what everybody talks about in these conferences, obviously, is the creation of a single source of truth. So the objective of all of these major projects is to bring it all together using an ISO compliant object model. So you've got this massive digital asset which supports the facility. The opportunity here is obviously that can sit on a desktop and in offices, but obviously we want to sweat that information, get it out into the field so people can use it to do their work. So the next slide will show us how we want to actually, well, first of all, we show what the summary of all of that looks like. That's a prompt, Stuart. So there's like a picture of a project where you've got, maybe you can't read this, but you've got like 1.2 million documents coming from all these different sources. You've got about 1.5 million physical tags. You've got a couple of thousand significant purchase orders. Then you've also got a lot of generic information about the pumps, the valves, and the motors. So for 1.4 million, tag numbers, you've got about 20,000 unique different manufacturer model combinations. So there's an awful lot of information there, and people need access to that for commissioning, construction, operations readiness, and things of that nature. So what we want to do is really sweat that information. Don't just like leave it to go cold. We want to get it out there and make it evergreen. So we click the next slide, please, Stuart. Bringing in the mobile technology is to take that good single source of truth and basically extract the information into the mobile technology. So you're basically feeding forward data, feeding forward documents. They're making it available on any device that's relevant to the project. We've got, obviously, you've got your iOS phones, you've got your Android phones, you've got your hazardous area tablets. So there's loads of technology which we'll touch on. And so then we want to get it out there so it can be used. And then we can click again, please, Stuart. But the most important thing to me is obviously we want to be able to feed back anything that the people in the field, you know, if they're doing commissioning, calibrations, punch listing, verification to the single source of truth, so it becomes evergreen. So we want to try and creating an island of information. Hence, you know, we want to all use tools, if you like, that actually integrates and aligns to a single source of truth philosophy. We recognise that obviously that's a big step for people, so sometimes people, you know, they want to get to know technology without taking a big risk. Stu and I are working well now. The slides have moved on for me. So you don't have to obviously go in whole hog. So you obviously can adopt a technology solution where, you know, it's standalone for starters, and if he clicks again, you know, you can basically import information into some of this mobile technology using simple spreadsheets and databases, and you can obviously put information in to the technology by hand, and then you can obviously get outputs. You can get your traditional output reports, you can export data in a variety of formats, and you can even use APIs to actually interface to the systems of that the operator is using. So obviously you can dip your toe in the water with these with the technology from different providers, so you can go from like a sophisticated solution that integrates very well, or you can go standalone to start with, and hopefully you move towards a more integrated solution. So we find, and this is the sort of thing we're coming across, what's available to support. Can you click on, please, Stuart? The point of that obviously is it's helping collaborate, it's getting the information fed forward, so people are actually sharing information in order to do their job. My next theme I wanted to cover is from paper, the use of the mobile technology. So I'll just give a few sound bites of how we think power's got an edge over paper. Are you clicking, Stuart?
Yep.
Thank you. So one of the things, obviously, that the power does very well, access to satellite pictures, we've got access to location drawing, you know, where something's going to be, we can see what it's going to look like, and then there's little numbers on there, so you can also, as people are doing work on these major projects, invariably they might be going and inspecting 10 pieces of equipment, so you can plot which one you're doing first, second, third, etc. So you can actually plan routes, you know, on the technology, which obviously has an edge over paper. And click again, please, Stuart. We've also got, here we go. Yep. So they also take images, you know, which obviously has again an advantage over paper. And what we're finding obviously is the technology, the phones, I use an iOS, and the quality of the photographs these days is fantastic. But that also made an interesting, makes an interesting challenge, because the file size of the photographs is quite large, so transmitting large photographs over the internet's, you know, got to be taken seriously. And we're finding we're taking galleries of information, so we might take lots of pictures, one of the equipment, one of the nameplates, you know, one of its situation, one of the conditions, one of faults. So we do find we're getting a range of images, but that's fantastic. You know, we can also take video. So I think understanding the challenges of imagery and the size of imagery is something to think about. But the other advantage is once you've got an image, you can actually annotate the image and then use it when somebody goes to revisit the equipment. Let's say there was a fault with inspection, you know, it could have been a gland fault, and then someone's punch listed that and somebody else has gone out to rectify it. Then you can feed forward the image to the person responsible for the rectification. So obviously we're finding the use of images, video and audio is a net that, you know, I think it was touched on at the last webinar. Is obviously the technology, RFID technology is a massive advantage. You've got the QR, barcode, NFC, which is just high frequency RFID. So there's a label there showing 26PT005. It's human readable. It's got a QR that actually can ID in it. So if you just want to offer an Android device close to that, it would also read it. Obviously, there's we've experienced with clients using ATEX rated scanners to actually scan the labels. So again, it's a great advantage over paper. We can actually start to interface to the plant, so people aren't having to type anything in, which is obviously reducing errors, but more importantly, it's speeding up the whole process. So it's a fantastic technology to encourage adoption. We find that people really like that. So there's a suite of answers out there, and we've been surprised. The number of RFID solutions is quite incredible. The next one is, I must be going too slow for Stuart. The next one is endless uses. So we click again. Obviously, what we've found is, obviously there's a tendency to just like convert something from like, you're buying a mobile app to do one thing. What we've found is there's obviously good applications out there that actually can be configured to do a variety of things. So you got one tool that does a lot. And this is where the multi-purpose comes in. So now you can start thinking about where can I use the technology, and we've got examples of people using it for stock checking, using it for hazardous area inspections. That's a very popular use. They're using it for site data verification, so what's actually being fitted, punch listing, check sheets, calibration. There's an awful lot of things, and more the people are using it. They're starting to think about just simple fault recording. So there's a whole variety of uses. And obviously we're here to talk about maybe the process industry, but there's lots of uses outside the process industry. It's got limited potential, which is great, unlimited potential rather. Next slide, please, Stuart. The next thing I wanted to touch on is there's obviously when we went from paper to computer, there was a movement to just replicate what we did on paper, and we're just trying to impart. We really don't want to just start to replicate what we do on a computer, exactly what we do on mobile technology. I just want to share an example where we can actually transform the way we do things. I just want to set the scene on that one. So click again, please, Stuart. So what we find is when we look at and I'm just going to use hazardous area inspection for a minute. So this is actually an extract of something that a diligent EHAR engineer has done over here. So they've got forms. This form's got lots of questions on. But you can see the guys diligently filled out a variety of fields and even added extra metadata, and done a really good job. Now this inspection is a statutory inspection. So this was done during this construction and commissioning. In operations, that has to be repeated. What would traditionally happen is this thing would get filed, and then obviously somebody else goes out and they have to repeat filling out the boxes. So yes, we can recreate this digitally, but also we can start looking at what actually is being done and what's being said and what's being asked for. So my next slide shows, just bear with me, it's quite, there's a few things on the slide, but I'm just trying to illustrate how we can think differently now because we've got a different technology rather than just replicating it. So what we've got here is, for those that might know, on an IEC check sheet, which is obviously a regulatory requirement, one of the questions is this equipment adequately rated for the area in which it's deployed, which therefore puts the onus on the inspector to actually know the area that it's the hazardous area ratings, know the equipment ratings, and have all of the skills to be able to make that answer that question. Invariably, they don't know everything, so they have to go and do some desktop research retrospectively. If we can actually then think, well, we've got new technology, so you click again, please, Stuart. What we can do here is say, well, what we'll do then is we'll feed forward one step. Next step is we feed forward the hazardous area details, which the guy would have to get from another drawing or an EHAR schedule. So we can feed forward the ratings and ask him just to confirm, what are the details of the equipment. Next thing we can go down to, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll actually, don't ask him to make the comparison, let's just ask him to tell us what's there. So we can ask a different question, and we go one further step down. We can actually say, well, actually, we know what is there from the design. You want to click, Stuart? So we already know what equipment's there, and we know what the hazardous area ratings are. All we want you to tell us is nothing's changed, right? So we click again, please, Stuart. So what I'm saying is, if you start to think about what we're doing, what we find is the more information we can feed forward to the inspector, click again, please, the simpler, we click again. So what I'm saying is that if you start as an engineer, start looking at what we actually do traditionally, we can actually redesign the question sets and make it much easier. And that's what we're finding, the interaction with the people doing the work. We're transforming, you know, the industry's transforming the way they think, and not just following a basic pattern. And therefore, that's saving time, saving money, and giving everybody a more job satisfaction. So I hope that makes sense. We click on the next slide, please, Stuart. Obviously, to get people engaged in the technology, then obviously there's always somebody that wants to replicate the paper world. So there you can actually generate the same form that people are familiar with to start with. So again, feeding forward all the information we already know. When they're answering yes/no questions and multi-purpose questions, you can fill out the boxes electronically. So you can generate the same form to satisfy compliance if that's a requirement. But it doesn't stop us from thinking about the way we do things. You click again, please, Stuart. The other thing we wanted to just mention is with the technology is, you know, you can actually start to put your engineering know-how into the way you do things. Can you move it on, please, Stuart? 28.
Oh.
Are you still there?
Yeah. No, it's 28. That was the last. That was the last one before it clicks out.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's it. If I go again, it goes to 29. Yeah.
Go on then. Try that then. I'll pick up.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Okay. We clicked on that one then. So the other thing I was going to mention with, oh, there we go. Must have been, there's been a shuffle. Is that coming up?
No.
There we go. Right. Right, there we go. So I'm on. That's 28. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention, obviously, is with is the logic. Is you don't have to. We find there's some technology where it's just like, you know, 1 to 10. What you can do, obviously, with some of the technology is you can obviously build in the Boolean algebra. So you can ask questions, and if the answer is no, you can skip to a different question. If the answer is yes, you can do a more detailed set of questions. So this really illustrates sets. You can actually change the logic. So in this instance, if you can see, the guy he's got a multi-purpose question set, and there's nothing EXD about the equipment. So he's going to jump from question 26 to question 33. And on the chart beside you, the side it's in, it's going to jump from 5 to 10. So these are the sort of things we find is really encouraging, as you can start to think about the logic of what you're doing. And from an operator, the guy using the device, you know, it's quite straightforward. Where obviously there's a lot of inbuilt logic going on. So I'm on to my next slide, which is I'm near at the end. I just wanted to touch on data analytics, so we can flick through twice, please, Stuart, to 30. Advantages with the mobile technology over paper. So what we're doing now is obviously gathering an awful lot of and you can obviously analyze what's going on. And obviously everyone's talking about big data and having the ability to look at what's actually happening, stand back and analyze what's going on. And people are now starting to think about how long it takes to do things, what efficiencies are we getting, what sort of faults are we finding, what are the trends and patterns. And we find this quite exciting. There's a lot of people obviously starting to realize the benefit of this extra data. So whilst it's obviously easier for people to do work using mobile devices, it's actually creating an awful lot more information for people to leverage, which can't be bad for the industry. As Stuart said, there's targets of increasing efficiency and reducing costs. and having analytical information is extremely powerful. So that's what we're finding. There's so much output now coming from the activities. There's more visibility of what's getting done. So that's really it. I just wanted to now touch on next slide, which is just the benefits. So if we can do the benefits, please, Stuart.
Yep.
So just in summary, obviously there's a lot of people understand the benefits of the technology. So basically it's well versed that there's obviously using the technology with lookups and the likes is reducing errors, it reduces effort, reduces therefore the costs to do what you need to do, and it saves time. And obviously the more you can do, the more effective you are, then the less plant downtime you're going to have, and also from major capital projects there's going to be less delays to the major capital project. In terms of performance is improved, you know, people are able to report equipment reliability better because we're obviously using lookups. The efficiency is growing, as I say, and because you're getting more collaboration, you know, there's more. We're redesigning the way we do things, and we feel like obviously there's a growth in improvement in safety. And the other thing is a lot of the people, we thought that the technology was going to be difficult to sort of get people to embrace, but we find it's actually very, it's been well received, and people who are not that techie savvy quite like the technology and like the way things are done. So we find there's a lot of smiley faces around, so there's lots of job satisfaction. So and I think well, Marie's got a quote, so I won't steal her thunder. But so yeah, there are a lot of benefits to the mobile technology, and hopefully we're doing our bit to try and raise the profile. So with that, I'll hand over to Maria, who's going to take you through some of the information, just to show you what things look like in a live environment.
Thank you very much, Steve. I suppose I better start with the weather, considering you put me on the spot there. Because it's 3:30 in the afternoon here, and it's an extremely balmy 8 degrees Celsius, which is probably the warmest it's been in about 2 weeks.
Very good.
So, touching on Steve's themes there, is how do these actually translate over into the real world and real world applications? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a live feed from my mobile device. Now I'm going to be using a simple mobile application which you can download from the Apple Store or Google, and you can transform basically any device into a mobile collection tool. So you can exploit your everyday technology for your business needs without having to buy any specialist equipment. So I say I've got an online feed. I'm just going to open up the app. This is actually my mobile. We have different layers of security. We've got fingerprint, we have PIN codes, or you can log in with just your username and password. Mine's just gone in automatically there, so just to let you know that isn't open to the world. So here on screen, a very simple interface for a user. I have 4 buttons. 2 of them are regarding my assets, so I can put a new item in. But I've also got existing items, and in the bottom left-hand corner, it shows that in this case I've got 93 available on my project. And that means I've had the data fed forward to my device. Now, I say that I'm online at the moment, but this tool can actually be used offline, which is quite useful if you are in the middle of nowhere and don't have a connection. The other thing is QR technology and RFID and barcodes being used in the world today. So we've also got that capability built into the app, that you can pick up your asset from your QR information. If you're using a hazard area scanner, such as for RFID, that can also be put in companionship with the app on your device. So what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to go into great details, I'm going to just pick up an existing asset that I have. You see my assets have come through. So these are all my asset numbers, and I'm going to select one from the list. So with my asset fed forward, I'm given my asset information, my number at the top, and I'm also given some basic information. And under here again, this has all been fed forward from system, which I'll touch on at the end, but I already know some of the information before I reach the item, and in this instance, I've also been given a photograph or an image, which could be particularly useful if you are looking for an item on site and you are trying to find it. Picture does paint 1,000 words. Back button. Basic asset information. What I have the option to do is to start a collection for this item. Now, we call these question sets. So these could be functions that you are trying to carry out for your business, for a particular reason, and some maintenance inspection, a safety inspection. It could be hazardous area, it could be stock inventory. You can do different, it's very configurable, so, but you can present for a particular asset what you require doing. Now, Steve also did say that there was routes. What you can do to the device is say specific tasks that you want to be carried out. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to go into basic information checks. Now, I have a very simple screen. It does look rather probably like there's quite a big gap on there. It just depends on the level of question and what information is being fed forward. There could be an image or a document link on there in addition. I've kept it very simple for the purposes of this demonstration. Now, to here, it's wanting me to confirm the date. By pressing the button, it's actually giving me a calendar already. So automatically, I'm not even having to type anything in. I can just select something and confirm. A very simple button interface. We've actually tested this out, and it works if you're wearing gloves that are compatible with a touch screen. There's no problems with having to have 5 fingers, which is one of the feedback that we actually got from users. So here I have confirm equipment location, and again I'm presented with a button, and this one is one that's particularly useful and is becoming GPS location. Now, because it's taken a few seconds to find me, but it's actually put up on the map where I am. Now, of course, this feature only works if you're online, where a map could be fed forward, and the user can put a push pin in themselves to state where they are. Simple feed forward question. Here, as Steve had said about confirming information rather than repeating it over and over again, I'm actually being asked to confirm it. It's telling me that the currently recorded information in the database that this information has come from says Rotork. So I can just press with one button, I can say, yes, that is what I'm seeing. Again, the model number, and I can do it with the serial number. If I wanted to, I can actually type in a new piece of information if I needed to. So I move on to the next question. In this case, it's asking me what the condition of the equipment is. Now, this can be very subjective, and people, if they're writing in, can write paragraphs or one line, and often that information isn't as meaningful as you probably think it should be. So what we've found and we've developed with our users is the use of lookups, where you're actually trying to streamline the information so that you're getting a consistent output and you're getting value from the information. So on screen here, we have a selection of specific outputs we would be asking. So this, say, minimises input. We do still have the capability, if you wanted somebody to type in, you can also allow people to sign, to write information in themselves using a stylus, which is particularly easier if you actually want to have a signature as part of your data, and that could be put in as a simple question. So this one is taking photographs. Now I'm going to actually take a photograph of the screen just to show you this is in fact live. which is going to go a little bit crazy. So that is my screen that I'm working from at the moment. But photographs are used. As I said, we've managed several images, not just a single one. We've looked at it because this tool can be used offline. You can actually go back into, say, an office and use a much faster connection. You also, even if you are online for your GPS, we've put in a feature where you can choose when you want to upload, because there's nothing worse than losing your connection because there's a lot of uploads and downloads going on. So basically, you download and upload when it's convenient for you. So that's the basic tool, and when you've finished, you can just commit the information. And as you see, I have one upload pending, and it will wait there until I command it to go back to the main server. So basically, you've got this online mobile application. How does this work with existing data, your own data, and how do I get to set this up? Well, here we have an online dashboard, an analytics package, and web-based user interface tool. Now, because it's a web portal, it means you don't actually have to download any software, and it can be used on a tablet or a laptop. So it also becomes mobile in itself. Again, you're presented with the online dashboard, because you can collect your data, but if you don't have any meaning to it, then it might as well just be sat there in paper. So what this tool does, which is a standalone tool, is it can be used with your existing data and systems. So we have the capability of integrating that data into, and it's a very simple import interface. Where there's a template, and then you go with a standard browse. So that could come from something like SAP, it could be just a simple Excel sheet, it could be any of your own in-house software. The data can go back out, and that goes straight out to your system in a CSV format, which can then be uploaded to other systems. If you have the capability within your company, we have an API, which means it can actually be uploaded direct to the system without a user having to export. So all the questions you have on your mobile device actually come from this tool. Now, as we're very much of the thought that store it once, use it many times, we set it up so that you have a standard set of questions that you would imagine you would see over and over again. So the confirmed date only actually gets stored in the application once, and then what you do is you use it many times where appropriate in your group or set of questions. So your question set is the function that you're actually carrying out, such as a safety inspection. So for your question sets, and we were on basic information, you can go and have a look at that. So these are the questions that I was looking at on the mobile app. I've put in the order that I want to see them, whether they're actually required, and if I wanted to, I put in logic there, location, I don't need to confirm the manufacturer, or whichever way you wanted to do it. So that's how the information is put together. And this confirmed date could be used in 4 or 5 different question sets. We touched on routes. Routes allow you to take your assets and put them in a group. So this could be a geographical route. It could be that it's a set of shelves within a storage area. So you can actually put work together to feed to a user through the devices to say, this is what I would like you to carry out. So all that submission data that's coming from the online app, because not all the submission data may be suitable for you to want to go directly into your systems. So you have the capability of here of reviewing it and accepting the information if you require. Here I'm actually looking at one of the submissions from the tag we were looking at. So you see very simply, you see the date and time of all of the information coming in. I can see the item on Google Maps, so it's a bit clearer on a bigger screen. And I can also see all of the images that have been collected for that item. Now this is our own inbuilt image viewer, which allows you to edit the images. So this gives you further power to the pictures. So you can put annotations in, you can resize them and crop them, and even change the saturation if needed, if they're not that clear. So again, it's giving much more power to them images. If I just go actually to look at that asset, so this is going to show me all of the assets I've got, regardless of whether I have them on a route or whether I have them on a question set. Again, I'm going to use the same tag. And this is the basic information that I had that I saw on the first screen. What I can do is I can see a basic report of that, and in this case it's telling me all the submission information. I can put a report out in a standard format. I can put formatting on there and colour. I can use any of the information and manipulate it how I like. So basically, with the submission data and the analytics and the reporting that are actually available through the tool, the mobile technology is giving you the freedom sort of from the office while remaining connected with little or no time delay. If you need any further information on what you've seen, please visit our newly launched website. Just get that in there. I'd like to leave you with an interesting quote from a director on a major capital project. He said, "The iPad and the tablet will join the wrench and screwdriver as standard pieces of equipment, and this kind of thing is the future." So I'd like to say thank you for taking time, and thank you to Steve. Thank you for all joining this presentation, and I will hand you back to Stuart.
Thanks, Maria. That's superb. Thank you very much for the demonstration. I'm just going to take control back. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Right. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Maria. I'm now going to launch some poll questions around what we've seen and heard today. Just bear with me a second. You should see the first one come up on your screen now. Do you currently use mobile technology to perform aspects of your job? We can see that. Can we see that? We should be able to see that now. So it's a simple yes or no. Looks like a good 50-50 at the moment. Okay, a couple more seconds. Looks like everybody's voted. Pretty much everybody. There are a few. Thank you very much for that. I'll just share that one with you. We've got 63 yes, 38 no. Can you all see that? Is that the sort of response you'd expect, Steve?
It's very encouraging, Stuart, very encouraging.
Isn't it? Isn't it indeed?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for voting on that one. That's the first question. I'll run into the second one now. How many activities do you believe you could convert to mobile technologies? That's encouraging as well. I've got 79%, 80% suggest many activities.
Great.
There are going to be a few challenges, and I think that's where the 20% that I'm currently seeing would fit in. I'll close that down now. Thank you for voting on that one. Let me share that. So 20 and 80. Any thoughts on that, Steve?
No, I agree with that. I think everything we're seeing, there's a lot of forms being used, a lot of activities that could be converted. So that's really, again, very encouraging. Yeah.
Good.
I agree with that.
Okay. So in terms of access to a mobile app, would you prefer private cloud, public cloud, such as Amazon, on-premises hosting? I don't know. Okay, close that one out. Everybody's voted on that one so far. So 40% private, 36% public. On-premises hosting, 8%, 16% don't know. Any thoughts on that one, Steve?
It's as expected, I think, Stuart, because obviously there's a lot of offerings and people are just getting their heads around, you know, obviously Azure is low cost, private is actually obviously more secure for people. So you expect you're going to have that view, but I think over time it's going to change. I think it'll be more public than private.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for that one, and thanks everybody for voting on that one. So the next one we've got is, what is your current position regarding mobile apps? Again, we've got multi-choice questions there. So skeptical about applications in the industry, early adopter and very keen advocate, curious about the technology and open-minded about the potential, an early adopter and frustrated, yeah. Like it, lots of keenness there, lots of keenness.
Good.
Okay, I'll close that one up. Interesting, yeah. Share that one out. So 52% early adopter and very keen. 44% curious about technology and open-minded. That's great. And the last one, an early adopter and frustrated. Yeah, I'm pleased about that. I mean, we wouldn't have said that a year or two back, but no, that's as well. Brilliant. Thanks for voting on that one. I've got another question crops up on there. Okay, next one. The next poll question, this relates to tagging. Now then, in terms of tagging, do you use any of the following? So barcodes, QR codes, RFID, it might be anything else, I don't know. Something else. Not so many barcodes. Oh, a small percentage. Yeah, interesting. I'll share that. So we got 13% barcodes, 21% QR, 25% RFID, 42% none. So a couple of opportunities there to convert. Okay, well, thanks everybody for participating in that, and thanks to Steve and Vineet for putting the questions together along with Maria. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next slide. Now, this is an opportunity for any questions from the floor. I know a couple of questions came in. Let me just check what we've got. Okay, this comes in from Richard Towers. Richard asks a question about mega project examples that Steve used in his early slides. The question is, have Chevron adopted mobile app technology on the Gorgon project? If so, what is their experience of it? And by the by the way. I worked on the project in the EPC phase.
Yeah.
And interested to know how much of it is useful. Steve, any questions on that? Sorry, can I respond?
No. Yeah, first of all, hi Richard. I know Richard very well. No, and the example was from, I tried to disguise it, but yeah, so they've obviously spent a lot of time filling out forms. They have a mobile strategy at Chevron, but obviously sometimes with the cuts in climate, the mobile strategy sort of slipped a bit. They're obviously looking at the technology now. They're looking at the technology for the turnaround into the project. One of the other mega projects, which is a few years behind, is obviously embarking on the technology, and I think both Chevron and another company are looking at it for the EHA work in operations. So I think they haven't got a lot of experience from the project phase, but obviously they're going to start to use it in operations. And with a bit of luck, I would have thought Chevron probably will start saying, no, we'll use this earlier in the project. So I think they've missed the boat, unfortunately. But but that's the point, as we're all saying here. It's emerging. It's starting to become more popular. So you got to forgive them. They started like about 8 years ago, and we ourselves are just getting used to the technology. So it's more mature now. Hence the answers to some of the questions.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. They didn't really. They haven't been able to maximize. Now I don't know everything about the project, so I'm not saying there might be areas and pockets where they have used it, but from the stuff we've been involved with, we haven't seen the technology being used.
Sure, okay. Another question I've got here. You mentioned multi-purpose uses. What kind of uses are you encountering?
No, that's a good question. We've the things that have already been used it's been used for asset verification. So people are taking out the design information and verifying that the equipment's actually as designed. Smart operating procedures. In the UK, we've got a company there that are taking out and walking the plant, opening a valve and seeing what the next valve is. So using the items, the mobile to follow a procedure. Stock check-in, I think, and Maria touched on. Hazardous area surveys, I've mentioned. We've got a couple of really great projects there. That's quite a popular thing. Fault recording, so just a simple ad hoc, look, this valve's leaking, I want a picture, I want to record the fault, and I want to know where it is. And the other one, which is becoming popular, is reliability analysis. So people are, there's a pump failed, so they've got a set of questions, remedies, and failures, rather than putting in free text. Outside of the industry, where we are now, there's the councils are looking at the technology for reporting faults on roads and paths and lighting. So there's a lot of civil side. And obviously, there's a lot of civil on some of these mega projects. There's roads and lights on there. Schools are looking at it for asset management, because they've got fire extinguishers, gas detectors, all sorts of assets, projectors, things like that. And then also in the gardening industry, for garden design, plant identification, the QR, popping it up and getting the details of the plant and how you feed it. It's amazing, the variety of uses that people are coming up with. And I think we're just scratching the surface. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Steve. We're running out a bit of time. I've got a couple of things I need to finish off, so I'll start the questions. No more questions there. What I want to do is just say thank you very much, Steve and Maria, thanks for coming on. Very much appreciated. I think we held nearly 100% attention throughout the presentation. I want to just feed in now to a couple of things that are of interest. Some on the call will know about this. This is the Fiatech showcase that takes place in the spring. I'd urge you to go and have a look at the Fiatech website. There's a call for papers at the moment, and there's also a call for second nominations. There's areas there that would fit everything. If you've got a project or a scheme that you believe is worthy of an award or a nomination for an award, please have a look. It's got to have some relevancy to the Fiatech Capital Projects roadmap, but it could be anything from scenario-based project planning, automated design, automated procurement supply, intelligent and automated construction job site, self-maintained repair and operation facilities, new materials and methods, products and equipment, so on and so forth. There's also a section in there for mega projects. It's a multi-roadmap element, cross-functional, and the other one is that will attract interest from academia, and that's the technology and innovation research and development. Please have a look. It's very interesting. There's lots of opportunities in many areas for our industry. So nearly out of time. Thanks very much for your time today. I want to just mention, continue the conversation with both Fiatech and Commit. Have a look at the website, all those lists, all those icons on there for social media. Thanks very much for joining us today. The session will be made available on YouTube in the next couple of days. And in the meanwhile, I'd like to say thanks again to Steve Maria, Fusion, and hope to see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Steve, I don't think anything else to say before we finish. Maria?
No, it's fine. Thank you very much for attending.
Okay, great. I'll sign this one off and close up. Thank you again. Have a great day.